Hey, good evening. Alicia and Patty, you're here so early. Hello, 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 hello. Good evening to you. Yes, it is still very white outside. That's not just daylight, that's reflection off the snow. Oh, so hello to you. You guys coming in. Um, so how are you today? Kiri, hello. 91 degrees. Oh my goodness. No wonder we're getting so many storms. It's so warm there. And then we've got the Canadian influence up there hitting us. So, man, we had a massive storm on Friday. And we've got another 2-day storm coming in tomorrow. Hold on a second. I need to plug in my computer. Didn't realize it was so low. There you go. Yeah, you can keep the 91. Exactly. Ward Adams, hello, welcome. Welcome to you. Yeah, I am not ready for 91. And you know what? I was thinking yesterday, I have a feeling this, and I was talking to someone else today too about this, and I think it's going to be one of those years we go right from like winter. I mean, we're still, well, I think we actually got into the 30s, but let me double check here. What is it right now? It's just 30 degrees. So, but we're going to be in the 20s the next couple days, and even the single digits at night for April. I mean, this is ridiculous. So anyway, yeah, we're going to go right from like real winter because we had 2 days of snow yet coming this week. The original forecast was 14 inches. From right now, what I see, it's going to be about maybe 7 or something. And we had like 7 last week. I was like, so we're going to go right from winter to summer. There's going to be no spring. It's just like, we'll go right from what we have to what Kiri has. Just boom. Alaska, Ward, are you like Sean's friend who works with him on his cabin? So I know I enjoy a long spring. I love a long spring. It's so good. It says 44 here with showers, snow again this week. You've been nursing it. Oh, Patty, I'm so sorry that you're not feeling great. Yeah. Just discovered goose with 4 goslings. Oh, cute. I know the spring syndrome. Who else we have? Dave, hello. Hello. Well, at 91, I would turn the air on too. Let me see what they're saying here. If this changed since last night. So our winter storm watch has been replaced by a winter storm warning for portions of west central Minnesota, where the combination of falling snow, that just strikes me so funny. Falling snow is like, where else is the snow going to come from? It goes from up to down. It falls, it's like combination of falling snow, ice, sleet, and winds will produce the greatest overall impacts to travel and infrastructure. There were, I want to say like 280,000 people in the Minneapolis, St. Paul area last week, or from Friday's storm, that were without power. So I don't know if that's all been restored or not. But anyway, what are they saying? Oh, now it's way down. It's gone from 14-inch storm town. Now it's 1 to 3 inches. We can deal with that, but winds up to 50 miles an hour. So that's what gives the blizzard effect there. So anyway, yeah, poof with snow. Exactly. It's like falling snow, or it's like, oh, we're dealing with the snow on the ground. And it's like, yeah, that's already there from another storm. So it's like, I don't know. Sometimes the weather people get a little funny. Oh, yes. Kiri, down the south, that's what you end up dealing with. Absolutely, is the tornadoes and everything. And it's my heart goes out to all of you in the south who, I mean, I can handle the snow and the blizzards so much more easily than the tornadoes and the flooding that you guys get. It is just so nasty. Garden State Gardener had 4 near him. Oh my goodness. Your cousin in Iowa is in a town that was hit by one of those. Oh no. Yep, the tornado tomorrow or storm tomorrow. That's that front that's coming in, and maybe if we're only going to get now down to 1 to 3 inches, maybe the storm is diminishing a little bit. I don't know. But after these 2 days get through, so I don't know, it might build up. Who knows? We might get 10 inches out of this. And they might say 1 to 3 inches, and it's like all of a sudden it keeps snowing and snowing and snowing. So, but last week it was just so nasty. Oh my goodness. You're in full on mud season here. Snow in the shade, but all the sunny stuff. Wow. After even all the snow that you got. Oh, thanks, Alicia. Illinois and Iowa both got hit by the tornado. Oh no. It's just my heart. My heart. It goes out. Pottage in the garden is good. Yes, it definitely is. Ward. Very, very much so. Um, if this is your first time on Ward, we usually spend like the first 15 minutes or so just saying hi, talking about what's going on for each person, what the weather's doing, and because it's kind of nice to know in different areas of not only the country but the world what people are dealing with. Does anybody else here follow Josh, Josh Inyard, the Inyard gardener? Inyard, is that what it is? Inyard. So anyway, he got hit with storms real bad. He's the one that's been kind of camping out in the bush in Australia, and he's as his home. And so it got decimated by storms, and I don't know what he's going to do. So far, the severe storms have missed you. Oh, good. Hey, Michigan Daffodil. Hi. Ryan Hall's channel. Oh, I've not watched his channel. Right, Patty? Right. Oh my goodness. So yeah, so Friday night, oh my goodness. We had I had tickets for a concert like half hour away. And normally, I mean, it's a town I drive to at least twice a week anyway. And so it was, usually no big deal. So anyway, we were watching the weather. It was like forecasting, really bad stuff. And it was like, and they're like, no, we're still going to have the concert. We're still going to have it. Well, we had over 1,000 people show up, which was amazing, from not only all around Minnesota, but from North and South Dakota and Iowa and Wisconsin. And if anybody knows Rebecca St. James, she was the guest artist there. So she's an international artist, multiple Dove Award winner, just all this kind of stuff. So anyway, it was amazing to be able to see her and everything. And it was a great concert. But as I was watching the weather, it was like, oh, so I have a choice. Either I just forego the concert and, lose my money and stuff like that, or I, you know, do some other things. So I did something else. And so I went up early. Actually, like the day before, I think I booked a room at the Best Western up there. And I had until a couple hours before the concert to be able to cancel it if the weather changed and stuff like that. Hey, Matt and Sarah. Hello. How are you? So I had that ability to change that. And so I just kept kind of watching it, and they kept saying it's going to be worse. I saw this huge system just coming across South Dakota for us. And I'm like, there's no way we're going to avoid it. So I went up early, like at noon or something on Friday. Concert was at 7. They opened the doors at 6. And so I went up and just did a few things, some shopping and some other stuff there, and so checked into the hotel early and went to the concert. And by that time, I was just like 5 minutes after I checked into the hotel, it started just pouring ice balls, not hail, but ice balls, like sleet balls. Not just like little chunks, but balls of sleet. And it was like, I mean, Dave put that up on his Instagram. So there was it. No, I think you did a short, right? You did a short on that, but it was like really doing that. And it was like, oh, hey Bex, how are you? Oh, he's got 1 minute. Okay. Well, I'll have to check him out then. Thanks, Alicia. It's called grapple, grapple, grapple. I don't know. I'm not familiar with that term, with weather and stuff like that. So anyway, it did that for a while, and then it was sleeting, regular sleet, and then it started just raining, and I mean, it was just kind of like back and forth. The system, as you watch the radar, it would just like flow and shift and go back and forth, and it was like from rain to sleet to snow to back, and it was just crazy. They kept saying, "This is a very complex system." Like, no kidding, it's hormonal. So anyway, hi Patty. Patty G, how are you? So I was just like, oh my goodness. And so I left the hotel at it was about 5:30, quarter to 6 or something like that. And I just had to go, those on the south side of town. I had to go to the north side. So it's about 4 miles to the area, the arena that we were having the concert at. And I got there, it was pouring rain. It was just pouring. And so, of course, I left my umbrella here at home. So I have my winter jacket on and everything, fortunately, and my boots and stuff. But so I got parked, and by this time it had started snowing too. So it was like a snowing, and then it was raining, and then it was snowing, and different things like that. And it was crazy. So we got into, it's probably at least a quarter of a mile walk from where we were parked to the building that we needed. So maybe a little bit more, a third of a mile or something. And so I had to go around sidewalks and buildings and get all the way into the arena. And so by then I'm just drenched in my coat, and like my jeans from the knees down. So my feet are dry because I'm in boots, and then under my jacket I'm dry. But it's, so we're all hanging our jackets over the back of the benches and different things, and it was crazy. It was really crazy. But the concert was very good, and we got out at a quarter to 10. Well, when we got out, it was still snowing full force, and there were about 7 inches of snow on the ground after all that rain and everything. And so, so we get in there, and she had to drive through it to go to a bachelorette party. Oh my goodness. I hope she didn't have to go very far. And it's like, why did they persist on having the party? Oh my gosh. Okay, everybody's talking about Patty's productivity. What did you do? You resting after 5 hours modifying your greenhouse. Wow, that is awesome. Oh, yeah, and I hope you guys have made it through the storms too. So, oh, good, you put Mac to work. Yay! But anyway, we got out, and so it's still snowing very heavily, and everybody's, clearing the snow off the cars, and everybody's helping one another and all that. And it's the heavy, wet, sticky snow. So it's just like, people are driving through the snow and the slush and everything. So, in the parking lot is basically a field. So there's a lot of mud and different things like that. So we get out, I get onto the road. We're all going about 20 miles an hour or so. And so I'm on the road, and of course, the plows hadn't gotten by yet or anything. And all you see is all these tracks from cars, and it's not like one track going down, it's just multiple tracks. So it's like, okay, where's the road? Where's the the tarmac here or whatever. And so at one point, my passenger wheels got off the side of the pavement a little bit, and it was just like it like grabbed the edge, and it was like pulling me off into the. It was like no, so I'm trying to get back on, and then I just like swerving all over at 20 miles an hour. It was crazy. It was so slippery, and it was so nuts, and so we're just like, oh. And so trying to make it all the way back into town, and then it was like as so now I'm going like due west to at this point, and then I had to turn going south to get to the hotel. And as I'm going through town, right after I make that turn, it's like a whole different world. It was just like massive blizzard. It's like being in a hurricane of snow. And it was insane. The wind just whipping around, and the drifts that were there, and the snow, and it was, you couldn't see, you didn't know where. At least I had the buildings on either side of the street. I could make my way down. There were very few cars going that direction, and some people had to drive like 10 miles, to get back home and everything. And I'm like, I'm glad I only have to just get to the other side of town. But by the time I get down to where the hotel was, it was just full-blown storm. I mean, I couldn't tell where the lanes were, where the roads were. If I was turning, I could see the lights and everything, and I was never so glad to get into the hotel parking lot. And I managed to find one spot, and it was like, because there were semis parked in there, and there were all kinds of things all over the place. So it was just like, I know, Matt, I know, but it was like, it was either that or try to make it home, which there was no way I would have been on the roads going like that. So I would have slept overnight in my car or something. But anyway, it was crazy. It was just crazy, crazy, crazy. So you'd rather deal with 91 than that mess? I know. That's true. A nice summer day as opposed to that wintry mess, but I'd rather deal with that than tornadoes, So anyway, Deb, hello. Yes, you've been away for a long. Well, thank you. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're well. So that was what the storms turned up into where you are. Yes. Yes, it was crazy. Sunflower Marsha, hello to you. Yes, it was crazy. So I stayed overnight, and by the time sun came up in the morning, it was all bright and sunny, and everything was done, and they had the parking lot plowed out by 8 o'clock or so in the morning. And but I wanted to wait until the plows had done a really, really good job on the highways, especially getting back home, before I left. So my checkout time was 11 o'clock, so I left a little bit before then. I had lunch in town, and then got home about 12:30, and I'm glad I waited, because within a within a half a mile of my house, the roads were just covered with slush, which had been ice and all kinds of stuff before. So I'm glad I did wait. And so I got to get home and then spend an hour and a half shoveling slush out of my driveway. It was like, I was so beat by then. It was like, oh, just going to an event can be an adventure. Right? Oh, thanks, Matt. I appreciate that. Would you rather? What weather would you rather? Ryan Hall's YouTube. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. So that was my weather adventure. So hopefully it won't be that bad this week. Matt and Sarah, I think you missed it, didn't you? I don't think you may have just gotten rain out of that, I think. But that whole system was supposed to hit southern Minnesota, and boy, did it shift. right over me. So slush is very heavy. So I was pretty careful, but it was still went to my chiropractor this morning. So it was like I said, I need you like right after I get finished shoveling. So oh, you got 10 inches? Oh my goodness. Wow. Of the heavy wet stuff too, right? Oh my goodness. Uh, I didn't know that it actually ended up hitting there. So um, I guess I didn't check my radar after driving through it. And it was like, this is enough. I'm not going to be doing this. So, oh wow, guys. That's so anyway, so that was last week. There's more forecast this week. And then I think we're supposed to turn a little bit warmer. We're supposed to have some highs in the 40s, maybe even 50. I don't know. But it's going to be like all of a sudden it's going to be shifting. So let me see again here. Yep, starting Friday. Oh, yeah. Friday's 37. And then we have 44 for 3 days. And then next Tuesday, 49, Wednesday, 54. So it's all sunshine too. Sunshine, warm temperatures, which means that the 3 feet of snow I have out here is just everything's going to be melting. We'll just be flooding in a lake and everything else going on. So it'll be your 10 inches almost gone already. Wow. It has been, what we've been getting has been melting fast, actually. So I think it's because the sun has been up. So what do you have to say to Deb? Fed your mom full-time caregiving to get her home properly cleaned up. Oh, did she pass away then, Deb? I'm so sorry. Or is she you or not yet? You're just getting her house ready. Excuse me. I totally understand that a whole thing. You had 50 yesterday? Oh my goodness. I think we made it to 38 or something. So and we're at 30 degrees right now. So she's still here. Oh, good. Yeah, I totally get it. I totally get it. Oh, and Dave, you're nice and toasty up there too. Good for you. So, the time of the year where the weather is just like just dominating conversation here. So, let me get on to the rest of our sap, right? Our sap season 2. Again, we talked about maples and birches last week. So if you're interested in that, go back and look at that video. We're going to talk about, you know, the different ways that they produce sap. Different times of the year, different conditions, and all that kind of stuff, and then what it gets used for. Not all of it is consumable, so you have to be careful in that. It was somebody's birthday? Oh, Matt's 50 and Sarah's 41. That's what it is. Okay. Happy birthday. We talk about alder trees. So if anybody has alders, the Pacific Northwest lacks sugar maples, but it doesn't lack ingenuity. There are countless references to tapping alder trees, and it makes a lot of sense. So I know it was Matt. I couldn't pass that one up though. So an alder is in the birch family, and we talked about the birches last week. But then they split off into another genus, which is the alnus. They're closely related cousins, so they do have similar sap properties. So the alder and birch syrup is a little bit it has a little bit of a spicy flavor to it and everything. Um, but anyway, that's all they say about alders. They just are very much like birch trees. And remember, birch, it's like 100 gallons of sap for 1 gallon of syrup. So it is a very high ratio there. Um, then tapping nut trees for syrup. So nut trees in the walnut family produce, so we have, this was born the year Mac. Oh, okay. 84. So my oldest daughter was born too. Matt, you could be my son. You're my long lost son. Will you be my son? You could have two moms. I don't have a son. That would be nice. All right, so uh, nut trees in the walnut family all produce high sugar sap. High sugar sap. So uh, um, that can be boiled into excellent syrup. And I loved your video on that too, Matt. That was great. The sugar content and timing are similar to that of maples. Uh, so the timing they're talking about when the sap is running. So that would be like early, like February type of timing on that. Nut trees are some of the last to break bud in the spring, so they'll keep producing usable sap long after maples have finished, which is kind of cool. Though the season is longer, they actually produce far less sap, only about a third as much per tree as maples. And I think, Matt, you found that out too, because you guys had it running and it was like, okay, we have, a quart of sap or something, um, so that means that you'll need to tap more trees to get the same amount of finished syrup. Trees in the walnut family grow wild in many parts of the country, especially areas where maples are not common. That makes them especially valuable for tapping. So I would like to know what kind of walnut that was. Was it a black walnut tree? What kind of walnut was it? The nut trees start earlier too. Okay. Hey, Howie, how are you doing? Awesome. Matt is your northern son. Look at all the mamas you have, Matt. Oh, it's that dimple when you smile and that twinkle in your eye when you're doing your videos, bringing all the mamas out. You have black walnut. Okay. Oh, good. I'm so glad, Howie. That's so great. So the black walnut syrup is a unique, light, and refreshing taste that's nothing like the tannin-filled nuts they produce in the fall. So a really light, refreshing taste, and Matt said it tastes like pecan pie. See, I say pecan, you went pecan. I think it's a northern way of saying the pecans. I had to laugh when you guys were doing that, the pecans, because, I learned about pecans in the South. So I'm in Louisiana, it's like pecan, so it's like tomato. Yeah. Patty, you're so right. You'd like me to be your aunt? Oh, well, thanks, Alicia. That's sweet. Um, so just like with maple trees, the season varies dramatically with the weather. They've tapped as early as January and as late as March. It was always a pecan. Okay. Pecan. Okay, so that was a black walnut. Butternut trees. Anybody have a butternut tree around? Dave, you've got like 45 varieties of trees in your yard, your land. So it'd be kind of nice to see what you have. Butternuts are said to produce a smooth, light syrup. That would be really good, wouldn't it? No butternuts? Okay. Maybe you need to plant some. I don't even know what area of the country they're better for. If they're better, A better southern tree or a better northern tree? I don't know. Um, in the last few decades, the native butternuts have been devastated by butternut canker, and we've seen tree after tree come down. Oh, this person talking about that. Do you have beech nuts? Um, the canker weakens the wood and eventually kills the whole tree. There's only one. Oh, they only had one butternut left standing on their lawn or in their yard, their land. If you find a true butternut, do it a favor and cherish it. I'm sure the syrup is delicious, but leave that beautiful tree alone. Oh, I don't know if tapping it ends up bringing out the. It'd be interesting. And Patty, maybe you know, or Dave, since you're into wood too. What the canker, the butternut canker, what that would, how it's comes about and what it does to the tree and different things like that. I mean, is it insect borne? Is it a virus, a bacteria type of thing? Is it coming on the wind? I don't know. That'd be interesting to know. But maybe we need to plant more butternut trees. It sounds like they are um, an endangered species. Oh, from an injury. Okay. So it could be wind damage or tr- birds or anything. Okay, then there's a heart nut tree. And heart nuts are the Japanese version of an English walnut. And they've been naturalized to the States, to the US. So just like all trees in the Juglans family, they can be tapped for syrup. Then there's the one that's called a Buart nut, Buartnut. So it's a mitosporic fungus. Oh, Buart nut. So all hickory trees too. Ooh, our poor trees. There's not much to protect them with, is there? So Buart nuts are a cross between butternuts and heart nuts that seem to be resistant to the butternut canker. Well, there we go. Plant the Buart nuts if they're resistant to the canker. They produce a delicious buttery nut from hardy trees that can be grown as far north as Zone 4. There you go, Matt. Matt, just plant some Buart nuts. That's a conversation starter. What is this? It's a Buart nut. I'm planting Buart nuts today. I wonder if you could find a Buart nut. I wonder if I always forget their name. The brothers that does the trees. Um, I always draw a blank at the name. So anyway, I wonder if they sell those. So they're showing great promise to replace the native butternuts in the forest ecosystem. So plant a Buart nut and save the butternuts. Stark Brothers. There you go. Thank you, Patty. I know that you always catch me there. So okay, so then we have an English walnut tree. Anybody have an English walnut? Yeah. A Buart nut syrup. There you go. I got a Buart nut bark. That would be, yeah, okay. Though English walnuts can be tapped for syrup, they generally grow in warm regions that don't have good spring weather for tapping. So, Patty G, you would probably know if you have English walnuts around. And again, you need to have that frozen winter weather in order to have, help the sap flow really well. So, for really good tapping, I mean, they still have their dormancy and then they come back, but it's just not that great for tapping. There's a few hardy varieties being developed for the Northeast. So perhaps soon there will be a thriving English walnut and walnut syrup market in Vermont. Ooh, there you go, Dave. Plant those English walnuts. Fir trees will leach out small blocks of sugar to the outside tips and can be collected when it's 85. Awesome. Is it consumable? Because there are some pines that we should not consume they're edible. So that would be my question on that one, Howie. So you've got black walnut at your place too, Patty. Okay. Now, sycamore trees, the old sycamore tree. Sycamore sap has a lower sugar content than maple. So again, it'll take quite a bit more sap to make a reasonable amount of syrup. They're very common landscape trees, and so odds are you have a few in your neighborhood. Douglas fir, spruce trees. Okay. Even if you only have a few, the sap can be mixed in with the sap of other tappable trees. Ooh. Ooh. Now, imagine this with the black walnut sap that Matt said tasted like pecan. Sycamore syrup has a distinctive butterscotch flavor. And even if added to other sap in just little small quantities, it'll give you a unique finished syrup. The butterscotch with the pecan flavor, oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Add that to some nuts and make your pie filling out of that. Oh my goodness. I know. Yeah, look at Matt's drooling all over his computer. You've got lots of sycamore trees. Oh, Patty, get Mac busy and tapping those sycamores. There you go. I know, doesn't butterscotch sounds good? That with pancakes or waffles, oh my goodness. I know. You need to get sap. Well, and it's, it's so easy to can it too, because I mean, get it going there. Outdoor Life, actually, the magazine writes about making sycamore syrup, but they state that the yield is the same as maple. The article's a bit sparse on information, so I'm left. They wonder if they were actually successful in the end. But I don't know. I mean, if somebody's done that, again, it probably, I don't know, just try it. Try it. Get some tapping stuff and tap your sycamores. That would be so good. Okay, now linden tree. A linden tree is also a basswood tree, and the sap of that is said to have a very low sugar content, whereas maples were super high sugar content. The trees tend to grow where water is abundant, and as a result, they have very watery sap, which in turn, I mean, there's low sugar if there's a lot of water, right? Most mentions of tapping basswood trees says that there's not enough sugar in the sap to bother with boiling it, but those are the same people who also dismiss birch syrup too. So, and I know the birches run really good. So, linden trees are planted all over Portland in parks and schools. Oh, that is funny. Yeah, and so basswood trees. I know that there's basswoods around here, and they're not next to, I mean, there's lakes within a distance, but not like on the shores or anything. So it's interesting. It's good to note that young basswood saplings have a pithy center and can be cut and bored out for use as tree taps. Alongside sumac and elderberry spiles, that could come in handy if you're hoping to make your own homemade taps. So just think about that one. I know, right, Alicia? I mean, that's the one that's probably on a commercial basis is the one that is the most productive and the most, bottom dollar or bottom line economical for companies to do, whereas they've got the least amount of work in there for the highest yield. So they have to do that. So I think probably, there's a few other specialty companies that might have other things, but you're going to pay a lot for that. So, all right. So we talk about ironwood trees. Oh, another. The blossoms of the basswood or linden trees are very tasty. So you might want to try the blossoms for that. Okay, ironwood trees for syrup. Ironwood trees are considered a weed tree by foresters since they readily grow in the understory and can outcompete more marketable species in low light. Um, they can be very prolific, though, too. So they produce sap much later than maples, and they start running about a week after the birch trees. So they said that usually about 2 gallons can yield about a fourth of a cup. No, that'd be half a cup, 4 ounces of syrup. So 2 gallons to half a cup, or 4 gallons to 1 cup of syrup, which is a half a pint. So the 4 ounces is a fourth of a pint for 2 gallons. So 8 gallons to a pint. Somebody want to do the math on that for the gallon? A gallon of yield? It's not as good as maples, but it is much better than birches. All right. The syrup was quite bitter and had a slight tannin taste from the ironwood. I don't know, just the name of the tree would be like, it didn't sound sweet to me at all. But so very bitter. And so maybe combining that with another type of syrup. You could put the bort nut syrup in there with it. Was that the one? No, the sycamore. Sycamore and ironwood. Mix those together. And that might bring it down. I don't know. So okay, hickory trees. Hickory trees can be tapped. But these days that's not how hickory syrup is made. A producer called Wildwood's Syrup is selling hickory syrup commercially and produces more than 30,000 bottles annually. But their product is, they call it wild foraged, but it's made by boiling hickory bark to extract its flavor and then adding cane sugar. So if you think you're getting something really, really good there, oh, bye, Howie. Thanks so much. Plant a forest, feed your village hunt, gather and grow. Oh, thanks, Howie. It was so sweet on you. I know, right, Patty? Cheaters. So, though it does produce an interesting smoky and woodsy flavor, it is not from tapped hickory. So, you could do that really with any edible bark out there. Boil it down and add sugar to it. It's like, hey, I got syrup, And it's like, that is cheating. Very much so. So no tapping required. So if you don't want to get into tapping, or you're not in a place that can, it's too warm in your area to have the sap running, you could always do something like that, I guess. Hey, Eli, hello to you. All righty. They don't really know if there's a difference between the actually tapped hickory syrup and the boiled hickory bark and sugar, because they haven't really found anybody who's actually done the hickory syrup and, really tapping it. So, all right, elm trees. Though supposedly tappable and listed as a syrup tree, excuse me, even by county extension agents, elms have their own problems. Dutch elm disease is destroying elm trees by the millions, and adding to that stress by puncturing the bark and potentially contaminating healthy trees is just irresponsible. So they're classed very similar to a butternut. They're supposed to make good syrup, but this person recommends sticking to more responsible choices. So we'll see. Get a limb, it wouldn't. Hmm. Yeah, Patty G, you have to. We talked about different bark before. That things you can do with the bark from the tree, and you have to take just a small strip vertically. Don't go around the tree. It's when you remove the bark in a ring around the tree that kills it right there. But you can take like a 1 inch wide strip, it's maybe 4 or 5 inches or something, off of one side of it, and then give that a chance to heal over. And so take different strips from different trees so that you can get a variety of bark. So you're not stripping all one tree. Yes, if you strip the whole tree, like my poor Macintosh apple, the rabbits decimated it. It's just terrible. That's what happens with these long winters. They run out of food and they just eat whatever's in their path. Um, okay, now we're going to talk about a palm tree, coconut palm, and then other palm species. So making palm syrup. You've heard palm oil, and different things like that. But uh, that's true, Patty. The field mice will get to them too. So, okay, says you don't have to live in northern temperate climates to have access to tappable trees. The Asian sugar palm, for example, not only contains more sap than a typical maple tree, but its sap contains up to 5 times as much sugar. Woo! Well, think of like coconut. I mean, if they're producing coconut, and coconut is so sweet, the coconut milk as well as the water in there, the actual coconut, very very sweet. So it's got to be sweet stuff that's running through that trunk in order to get it to the fruit out there. But so also it can be extracted for fully half a year, not just during a 6-week early spring sap run, and you've got a seriously high producing sugar tree. Wow. So, palm syrup. Some Asian palms are capable of delivering 20 or more liters of their super sugary sap in a single day. Compare that to even the highest producing maple tree, which can at best yield 8. So, yes, 5 times. It's like, oh my goodness. I had no idea you could tap a palm tree. I really didn't. Okay, other sugar producing tropical trees include oil palms, date palms, sago palms, and coconut palms. All produce more sugar and in greater quantities than maple trees. Well, where could you find those syrups if they're tapping it and making syrup? Usually in health food stores or online, they'll label them as palm honey or sometimes coconut palm syrup. It's marketed as a low glycemic alternative to sugar in much the same way as agave nectar. Interesting. So, as high as it is in the sugar content, it's much lower than actual, like even cane sugar or something like that. So, interesting. um, so here's a quote from somebody about the palm syrup. So, maple syrup, and to a lesser extent, honey and agave, may be the boutique sweetener in the US, but it's all about palm sugar in the Southeast Asia, particularly in Malaysia and Indonesia. You'll find some of the best tasting sugar around, made with the care and attention granted to fine wine. Rather than a single product, this is a whole class of sugars. Different regions use different palms, extraction methods, and local terroir, terroir to create distinct and unique products. my mouth doesn't want to form those words. So anyway, very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Maybe if you have like an Asian market around you or something, or even at a farmer's market, if there's an Asian section to it or whatever, might be able to find some good syrup there, some plum syrup. That would be really good. Okay, so in theory, excuse me, just about any deciduous tree can be tapped in the spring. They all should produce some amount of sap as the freeze-thaw cycle brings sap up to the buds in spring. So there's so there were a few other trees, but they were really skeptical about these, and you'd have to do your own research on them. But poplar trees, there's their sap is very gummy and resinous. Resinous. There's a wild Burlington, is a group out of Vermont that's been testing them, different things. But again, these are the trees mentioned again last week that are toxic and should not be tapped at all. So black locust, smoke tree, staghorn, sumac, and buckthorn. Do not tap those. Those are toxic. Some others that haven't really been tried, but you can always do your research on them. White ash, apple, again, black cherry, big tooth aspen, hackberry, European larch, red oak, and that would be it. So these, it says pines can be tapped, but the sap is not used for syrup. It's used for, like we said, glue and turpentine. But as Howie said, you can make it as a chewing resin or, do some different things with it. So anyway, on things that are not designated as really, really good, you want to really be careful. So Patty G is. So 2 weeks ago, I talked about different ways to, be organizing your, not your food pantry, but your personal household supplies things. And I just wanted to show you, I talked about different containers and everything. I was in Walmart this weekend, one of my in between the storm type of trips, and they actually had these half price on sale. And so this is one of the sets that I had gotten, and this is the brand down here, the Home Edit. And this one has 3 containers to it. They were $10 for 3 containers in here, and that's half price, what they usually are. So it's just all wrapped in plastic, but there's 3 containers here, and I'll show you how I've used them for storing some of my items. So we talked a lot about toothpaste. So this tall one fits tubes of toothpaste really nicely. And so you want to take them out of their boxes. I have actually written on here like the date of purchase so that I can, pick the oldest one first and then take them out of here. So I've got room. I think I've got another one that I think I have 2 more that I just bought. So that'll fill up the rest of the room in here, and so I'll have more room for toothpaste. But that's how I do it. This is a different one. Okay, this is one that comes off the top. So anyway, it's similar to the other one. Now this one, these are all tubes of Neosporin, the Equate brand of them. So for emergency medical type of uses. And so these covers, they all have like this seal on here. They fit in here very nicely. Take them out of the boxes. And I like how these are clear. So let me see. they're clear so you can see what's in them. They're very stackable, very durable, everything else. So here's another size. I have to be on the road a lot, so grabbing overnight stuff, and I had gotten a package of a dozen little travel toothpaste things from Amazon, and they were super cheap and a lot cheaper than getting them one at a time at the store. So anyway, this container fits a lot of these, and again, I can see what's in here. I've got more room that I could get another one, but I don't need any more than these. This will last me about 2 years at least. So anyway, I've got these kind of containers. So anyway, think about it. If this is something you're looking for and need, and they fit in those narrow shelves really, really well. I can see what's there. I can see how much I have. I just use it for all kinds of other things too. So anyway, that was what I wanted to show you, that they are on sale right now. So like I said, normally they're $20 for 3 of them, but now they're on sale for 10, which is really cheap because I got them before for like 12. I thought that was a good deal, but then they're on 10. But this one, I mean, look how tall this is. It is, so in here you get one medium or small, medium, and a large one. This is 9 inches tall. So it's a 6x4 by 9. 6x4 by 9. And then you have a 6x4 by 6 and a 6x4 by 3. So they are a little bit tapered, but when you have things like, toothpaste, and these are also great for like shampoo bottles, different things like that. So yes, I love the see-through bin. So when I've got them on the shelves, I can see exactly what I have. I can go through and do an inventory and see what I'm starting to get low on, and then add that to my shopping list, different things like that. But typically when I go and take something out, I add it to my list anyway, so I can add that product back in here in my storage. So these work out really, really well. Keeps the dust out of them, keeps them all in one place. You're not taking up drawer space for all of this. And so, oops, fell over. Which is great. You're not doing that. So anyway, I wanted to show you guys that because I was so happy that they were on sale. So I got a few more because I kind of needed them. So anyway, guys, you're gonna hang stuff like that from the rafters in the shed when you get it redone. Oh, I know. I was so surprised when, like I said, it's like these media shelves right here. They're only 5 inches deep, and or about 5.5 inches deep, and each one is about 11.5 inches wide. So if you look at that amount of space and that's deep, you can tuck it against a wall anywhere in any room and just have that and you're going vertical with it. And when you start using these kind of containers, to stack them in here, some of them I even have like upside down so that they'll fit in there next to each other, different things like that. And because they're very see-through, I don't have to put labels on them or anything. You will be amazed how much you can end up fitting in a shelf like that and being able to store your things. And it's like tucked out of the way, and it looks like you have your own little Walgreens kind of there. So yes, go vertical more. It makes such a difference. And try not to use up your cupboard space, your drawer space, all that kind of stuff, things where you're not going to find things. But I have had this system for about a year, and I absolutely love it. It has worked great for me. So anyway, my little prep tip there for the night. All right, guys, I don't have any garden tips because it's 2 feet under snow yet. So we will see what happens. You guys take care. God bless. Always have hope. And I just hope you have a great week. Good night, everyone.